It's a real judge, you know?
Yes, yes.
My name is Michael Khalil. I'm a circuit court judge here in Jacksonville, Florida. The state of Florida has filed a petition for declaratory judgment. They're asking for an emergency C-section be granted by the court.
I have not had a chance to be able to consult with my own legal representation, and I'm trying to understand how you are taking my rights away as a patient to be able to decide my own care to give me an emergency C-section against my will.
Well, let me ask you about that. What about the risks to the child?
Anytime you go into childbirth, whether you do a vaginal or a C-section, there is inherent risk to the mother and the baby. I have other children out here in the world that need me. If I die from a C-section, nobody on this call is going to take care of my children.
Well, you have a new doctor coming on. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they don't have nobody African American that they can give me.
Well, let me ask you. I don't know that. Then I don't find that race really has much to do with this, ma'am.
It does have much to do with it because historically, Black people do better when they have healthcare providers that look like them. It's nobody Black in here. I'm so tired of this. I'm over this whole situation. Like, y'all are gonna make me have level 3 tracing. How bad y'all stressing me out.
Ms. Dorley, that's what's going to be entered. I'm going to circulate this order, this proposed order that the other attorneys entered this in today, not requiring anything except for an emergency basis.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you spending 2 hours on a Sunday going through my medical history and fighting for my vagina.
Listen, guys, I need you to imagine something for a second. You're in labor, your body's in pain, doctors are preparing you for a C-section against your will, and then someone tells you, log into Zoom, court is starting. No pause, no delay, no compassion, just log in. Let that sink in. When I first heard this story, I thought it was fake. I thought it was completely made up because there's no way, right? No way a system meant to serve people can be this disconnected from reality. But this actually happened.
Hey y'all, I'm Sharice. I'm the mom from the viral court-ordered C-section hearing. And I want to just clear something up for y'all because a lot of people don't really understand what's going on here, right? This is more than just a sad, traumatic birth story. This is more than a misunderstanding and miscommunication with a patient and a provider, right? This is documented obstetric violence and medical racism right in front of you. Bodily autonomy does not go out the window when you get pregnant. The right as a patient to make informed choice and even informed refusals does not go out the window because you are pregnant. The question is not about whether you believe in VBACs or, your personal feelings. This is about whether it is okay to take a mentally competent grown adult woman to court to force them to have a surgery, a major surgery, against their will. And according to ACOG guidelines, this is unethical. We're not even going to get into the legal side of the constitutional and human and civil rights violations that occurred. This is not okay. This is never okay. All the people saying they need more context, no, you don't. Either you believe in bodily autonomy for women or you don't. Either you believe that women have the right to choose or you do not. Either you believe that women have rights or you don't. It's no in between. It's no on the fence. It's none of that. And we need to understand the implications of something like this, right? Because it starts here with court-ordered C-sections. Next, are they going to be court-ordering people to not be able to get on birth control? Are they going to be court-ordering people to get pregnant? Even though you said you don't want kids, but the birth rate is low. You need to understand the slippery slope that we are on. when stuff like this happens. And the sad part is it's happening all over the country. They did this same thing to a non-black woman in 2018 in New York. They did this same thing to Breonna Bennett 18 months prior to my situation in Tallahassee in Florida. They did this to Laura Pemberton in the 90s. And people saying, why don't you just leave? Laura Pemberton did leave. And guess what? They sent the sheriff's department to drag her out her house and bring her back to the hospital. So I need y'all to understand the implications of this and how far people are going to get what they want. It's not okay. Period.
A black woman in labor was expected to attend a court hearing at the same time she was about to give birth. Reason being, she did not want a C-section. She wanted a vaginal birth. Let that sink in again. Not before, not after, during. Let's slow this down. A C-section is not just giving birth. It's a major surgery. That means your abdomen is opened, your body is under extreme stress. You're vulnerable physically and mentally. And in that moment, you're supposed to listen to legal arguments, respond to questions, stay mentally sharp. How?
The engaging part about this is that this black woman says on camera to the judge that she felt like she wasn't being listened to because black women traditionally are subsided in the medical industry. And the judge, a white man, says to this black woman while she's in labor, in the bed in the hospital, that I don't know what race has to do with this.
I'm not surprised because of course it's going to happen to a black woman. It's the first time I've ever seen something like this. And like I said, white women become nurses the same reason white men become cops. And I'm not surprised that it's Florida because last time I checked, y'all had over 8,000 fake fucking nurses in your state anyways. I'm not surprised. I'm very disgusted by a care team that they would do something like that. And that they can do something like that. And that they would go to those extents to do something like that to a black woman. To a black woman. Because they cared more about the unborn child.
I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but this is one of those moments you ask, where is the humanity? Because policies are one thing, but common sense, compassion, basic human understanding, that should come first.
I'm appalled by everything happening in this video. The pregnant patient here is Charisse. Her pregnancy history was complicated by a history of 3 prior cesarean sections. In this video, she's in her 12th hour of labor. For context, having a history of 3 prior cesareans is a medical contraindication to offering a trial of labor after cesarean. And so therefore, her healthcare team recommended a repeat C-section, which she declined. So they took her to court while she was in labor, without her legal representation there. Here's the thing, I understand why her care team would be concerned for her, but the answer to that is not taking her to court. In this singular event, this is extremely distressing to the patient. I can't even imagine what she was going through there in labor by herself in a courtroom, being told that she has to have a medical procedure done that she does not want, despite her understanding the risks and benefits of the choices that she was making. Because in the end, it's our jobs as physicians to make recommendations, and it's our patients' jobs to make decisions about their care. It is not the court's right to make the decisions for the patient. And on a much grander scheme, I find it extremely problematic to get courts involved in reproductive decisions, whether it's at the end of pregnancy or at the beginning. This sets an extremely dangerous precedent for any reproductive choices made for any person. I feel so terribly that Charisse was basically betrayed by her care team and took her to court in her most vulnerable hours of her life.
I'm going to tell you right now, I also would not feel comfortable allowing a patient to labor after 3 prior C-sections because the risk is pretty high. So if a patient like this was in the hospital when I was covering, I would have them review the risks, endorse understanding, and then sign a refusal to have a repeat C-section. And then I would document as much as possible. I don't think I would put them necessarily through the trauma of having to face the courts without their own personal lawyer or representative. And I would also probably hold back on any interventions that we would typically use for labor. And then I would just watch her tracing and her vitals like a hawk.
C-sections are medically necessary to save lives, and apparently sometimes a judge can literally force you to have one. So we know that black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die due to pregnancy-related causes than a white woman. But we also know that black women are 20% more likely to have a C-section than a white woman, even if they have the same risk factors, same doctor, and deliver in the same hospital. And this isn't because black people like C-sections more than white people. This is regardless of the wishes of the patient. So obviously there's a lot of anti-black racism and sexism, or misogynoir taking place, and you should be pissed off about this, and I hope you take action by signing this petition. The incredible organizers at Ultraviolet and Pregnancy Justice have created this petition to put an end to court-mandated C-section. This is a reproductive justice issue. Our body, our choice doesn't begin and end with abortion. It also has to do with if, when, and how we give birth. If you want to learn more about reproductive justice, and maybe I'll do a Smarter in Seconds about it, make sure to follow In Our Own Voice, the National Black Women's Reproductive Justice Policy Agenda. So sign this petition, raise your voice, and make sure to follow Pregnancy Justice and Ultraviolet to learn more about action items that we can take to make our world a little less terrible.
And this is where the conversation gets uncomfortable, because this isn't just about one situation. This isn't about how systems treat people when they are most vulnerable, especially Black women. There have been countless conversations about Black maternal health, pain being dismissed, voices not being heard. So when something like this happens, it doesn't feel random. It feels like part of a bigger issue.
Apparently what Charisse had run into is the fact that in 29 states across the US, pregnant patients are not guaranteed the right to choose or refuse their own medical care all the way up until the point of delivery. And in a place like Florida, which is pretty lenient to vaccine deniers, this means that there may be people out there who are able to make decisions about their body that affect other individuals, and yet a mother cannot do the same for the life she's trying to bring into this world. After 3 hours of what I can only imagine included oral arguments and contractions, Charisse was told by the judge that they would allow her to proceed for now, unless an emergency happened. And in the morning, he would pick back up to let her know if they needed to proceed with forcing her to have a C-section.
This video is for the OBGYNs who think that it is okay to do a C-section on somebody without their consent, such as in a court-ordered C-section where I had made a video previously, and we got some interesting discussion. So you're welcome to watch if that's not you. But if you are that person, I want to remind you of this document, which is the refusal of medically recommended treatment during pregnancy, put out by the American College of OBGYN Committee Opinion number 664 in June 2016, and here's some things I want to remind you of. Pregnancy is not an exception to the principle that a decisionally capable patient has the right to refuse treatment, even treatment needed to maintain life. Therefore, a decisionally capable pregnant woman's decision to refuse recommended medical or surgical interventions should be respected. The college opposes the use of coerced medical interventions for pregnant women, including the use of the courts to mandate medical interventions for unwilling patients. Forced compliance raises profoundly important issues about patient rights, respect for autonomy, violations of bodily integrity, power differentials, and gender equality. So what this is saying is that our college, that we follow clinical recommendations on so many of their documents, has put out a document that says we should not be forcing C-sections on people.
Think about her. Not the case, not the court, her. She's in pain, she's scared, she's about to meet her child. She's possibly facing surgery anxiety. That's why she doesn't want all of that to happen. And instead of being fully present, she has to split her mind between life and law. That's not okay. I'm actually getting frustrated thinking about this because childbirth is already risky. Giving birth is risky. Now you add stress, pressure, distraction. That's not just unfair. That's dangerous. And someone signed off on that decision. Someone thought, yeah, this could work. You can attend it. You have the strength to do that. You can do it. If you've ever seen someone in labor, supported a pregnant woman, or experienced it yourself, even breathing through contractions takes effort. Now imagine answering legal questions on a panel of white people. It doesn't make sense. I want to ask you something. Be honest in the comments. Do you think this was okay? Should the court have postponed? Or do you think rules are rules? Because this right there, this is where people are divided. Moments like this go viral for a reason. Because they force us to confront uncomfortable truths. That sometimes systems forget people are human. Not schedules, not case numbers, not deadlines, human. And if we don't talk about it, it keeps on happening. For me, this crossed the line. There has to be a boundary where we say, no, this person needs care first, the care that she wants. She's the mother, let her get the care that she wants. Because no legal situation should a two-year mother giving birth. If this story shocked you, if it made you feel something, don't scroll past it. Like the video, share it, subscribe for more real conversations, and most importantly, drop your thoughts below because your voice matters too.